What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today we have got some both devastating and good news at the same time. It's a very weird day. Today's has been weird. This whole announcement has it's been hard to digest. It's kind of like good and bad at the same time. It doesn't make any sense to my little brain, and my brain is struggling to understand what the fuck's going on. So I was gonna make a video on this as soon as this was at 1:03 a.m. And I woke up at about 3:30, read this, and I've essentially been sitting on this for it's nearly like midday now. So I've kind of sat on it, tried to digest it as much as I can, and we're not going to go too much into like the actual patch notes, not that they're really patch notes, but we're not going to go into too much like what they're saying. It's more going to be my thoughts on everything. So what I'll do, if you guys haven't seen what the hell I'm talking about, I'm actually just going to move my webcam. You guys can pause and read through that. I can't really be bothered reading through that, to be completely honest. And then they have a link here as well with some more details, so we're going to go and actually look through what they're talking about. So essentially what they have done is they're planning on delaying season 1 until early summer. It says right here early summer. To me that seems like it'll be, I think, June. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's currently summer in Australia, so it's always hard to tell, but I believe summer in the northern hemisphere is June, July, August. But correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am wrong, to be honest. But yeah, by them saying early summer, that feels like it's going to be probably aiming for June. I think the fact that they're not giving us a month is simply because they might need another delay, who knows. So that's essentially the general gist of what they've said here, that they've just heard what we've said and they're going to delay season 1 until they can get the game into a better state. They want to actually take action on the feedback we've given, all those, the legacy features, as much as I hate that word. They're going to give us all of the stuff that we've asked for, as well as like working on optimization and stuff like that. So quickly to just touch on what they're going to be adding in the coming updates. They've talked about the scoreboard already. This whole paragraph here, they've kind of just talked about the fact that they've listened to our feedback from the original work in progress that they showed, and that they're actually gonna implement some of that stuff. So the thing that we saw with the scoreboard, that actually won't be what it looks like anymore. They're going to kind of change that to how we wanted it, which is a good thing. And this is what I mean. A lot of what they said in this blog post, it's actually really positive. There's a lot of really good stuff in here, but it's hard to feel positive because of the delay. It just feels like, it almost feels like when Battlefield 5 got cancelled at the end, and it's just it's a really numb feeling of like, oh shit, we've got to wait so long till the next Battlefield. For this one, it's almost like we've got to wait so long till we can get a new freaking map. So it's hard to feel positive, but a lot of this stuff is actually really good stuff. We've got the voice chat here again, and I want to say, just to get this out of the way, all of this, yes, it should have been in the game at launch. I completely agree. I don't know how there's no scoreboard and all this stuff. And while I do agree with that, it wasn't in the game, so I've kind of accepted that and moved past it. I'm not going to cry about, oh, it should have been in the game at launch, because it isn't there. So the fact they're adding it is a positive. It definitely would have been better if it was there at launch, but the reality is that it wasn't. So I'm just going to move forward. I'm not going to change anything by complaining about the fact that it wasn't there at launch. So yes, all of this should have been there at launch, but it wasn't, and so we are at least getting it. Now, this section right here, this is where the important stuff is. I'm going to make a video on this in the future because there's a lot to go through here, and I really just want to kind of talk about the entire post today and just my thoughts on it. But I'm going to make a specific video on this, as well as a few other elements as well. To quickly summarize what they've said here is that they are really going to try and double down on the communication with us as the player base. They've got like a 3-point little, I guess, strategy here to how they're going to tackle this. They've said, we'll present specific major focus areas to you along with our current thinking, detailing what we're planning to change. We'll then take the time to observe and listen to the conversations that you go on to have about both the area of concern and our proposal for adjustment. Later, you'll hear from us on the topic again, but this time with your feedback, it will have been factored into our consideration and guided the decisions made for the improvements. So they're essentially going to start to actually, hopefully, that this is what they're saying anyway. I want to make that clear. They can talk all they want until they actually do this stuff. It doesn't mean anything. So I really hope they stick to this, because I've seen a lot of games in the past do this kind of thing where they commit to, we're gonna do better, and then they don't. So I hope they actually do what they're saying, because if they do, it'll be really good. But until I see it, I'll believe it when I see it. Essentially, this whole thing is that they're just going to improve communication in general with us, which is good. We're also going to clarify the direction we're taking and what's motivating our decisions to bring improvements to the game. So expect to get more insight as we expand our existing feedback loops to involve you, our players, more directly. Now, just quickly, one thing that I missed is something that's really big, and I'm going to make a full video on this because this is something that it's one of those things I mentioned I haven't actually seen people talking about this. Finally, we have a team analysing specialists and working on them. We're not quite ready to talk about actions we'll be taking, but as soon as we are, you'll hear from us. That, to me, sounds like they are probably not reconsidering the specialists in terms of like removing them and adding classes back, but it feels like they could sort of do that thing that we've all been talking about where maybe they lock certain gadgets to certain specialists. So I really haven't seen anyone talking about that, and to me that's a huge thing. Like they've finally kind of admitted that. Well, they really haven't admitted anything, but they're kind of saying we've got people analysing whether that's the best way to do it. And yeah, that's the type of stuff that is actually really positive about this blog post. They're kind of admitting fault to a certain degree, and they're actually going through the phase of like changing the direction of the game potentially and stuff like that. So as much as it does suck about the delay, there is a lot of positive stuff in here. Now, down here it also says later this month, the process will kick off with one of our key focus areas, map design. So a lot of people have had the complaint of the maps are too open, they're too clean, some of them are too big, for example. Like, there is a lot of stuff wrong with the maps. Personally, I'm okay with the majority of them in terms of like layout and size and stuff, but they are very open in certain areas. And my biggest issue with them personally is that, say a map like Kaleidoscope, it looks like there's not a wall going on. That's my main issue with them. And they even mention here, addressing feedback on openness and lack of cover in key areas. So it seems we could be getting like revamped maps. Whether it doesn't really say here, it's a little bit vague, but whether this is only for future maps, I'm not too sure. This could actually mean like playtests, where we actually get to see the maps. I know with in Battlefront 2, for example, I know the Game Changers got to test Geonosis before that dropped and kind of like share some feedback as well as like promote it to the community and show it off. So could mean stuff like that for future maps, but it could also mean that they are going to like essentially redesign the current maps, not completely redesign them, but take all the open parts and add some more cover, maybe add some more debris and like stuff that looks like there's actually a World War III apocalypse going on, because some of the maps just don't look like that. They go on to say that big topics like map design will be loud and broadly shared, but for more nuanced areas of the game such as portal logic, we may have those conversations on smaller scales. The important part here is that all of these conversations will happen publicly with everyone invited to take part. So like I was saying about playtests, could this mean a controlled test environment, or a CTE as it's generally called? They in previous games have had, it's like a separate build of the game where they release like a new map, for example, and you can actually play on it in the CTE before it's in the actual game, and it's almost like an open playtest, if you will. That's what that could be pointing at. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely hints towards something like that possibly. So it's, yeah, I just found that little paragraph to be pretty interesting. Now, the last thing that they kind of mentioned here is looking ahead to Season 1. When Season 1 arrives in early summer, it will mark the start of a year where we deliver 4 seasons, 4 new specialists, and new locations, along with more completely new content. The start of a year, to me, sounds a bit like that is the only year. I don't know if I'm looking into that a bit too much. If they had plans of this being like a 3, 4, 5 year live service, it will mark the start of the first year, is what I would have thought it would say, but it doesn't say that. So I'm a little bit skeptical on what this is trying to say. Again, I could just be looking way too deep into this, but that stood out to me as a little bit like, oh, okay, like after that we're done. Like we've given you what we said we'd give you, we're done. After that, it's going to be Battlefield 5 all over. So hopefully that's not the case. If that's going to be the case, man, just like cancel it now. Like, I don't want them to fix the game, get it to a really good state, and then be like, hey, we're done, we're making the next one. That's what happened with Battlefield 5, and when it finally got good, they cancelled it. So anyway, I'm not going to go too far into that. We'll find out, sometime soon, but that was definitely a little bit worrying to me. Now, they essentially went on to say here that they're giving all this stuff you guys can see on screen. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. All of this stuff is going to be given to the people with the Ultimate Edition, and I think the gold edition as well, as essentially like a little thank you. And this will be exclusive, so if people buy the game in 6 months, you can't get this anymore. I do think that's cool, and I will say the skin looks pretty sick, but it's a bit of a piss take, if I'm gonna be honest. We've already got Bolt skins. I don't fucking just delete that from the game, to be honest. That vehicle is an absolute nuisance, so stop giving skins to the shit that is really frustrating. But no, I think this is cool. It'll be cool if this game does make a turnaround, and you know, one day in 18 months from now, people will go, oh, how'd you get that skin for McKay? And you can say, oh, I stuck with the game through when it had its tough times, and I've got this cool exclusive skin that you can't ever have. Like that, it'll be cool to have that, but it's also, yeah, I don't know, it's really not that much. There's a pretty cool skin, a weapon skin that, to be honest, looks to me like some of the skins that are already in the game. That skin, looking at it here, I'm sure if I zoom in on that, like, well, yeah, it literally just looks like a regular Magnum to me, so I don't really know what the go is there. And then, like, yeah, these things they're all kind of cool, but I'm just not sure it's worth saying that this is like a gift, because it's really not that much. Now, the final thing that they touched on is that we are committed to and focused on ensuring Battlefield 2042 lives up to our ambitions and your expectations. It's a task we are dedicated to accomplishing. So it's good that they've committed to the game now. Like, a lot of us were kind of thinking, oh geez, are they going to cancel this one again? Like, it was going down that path, and it's good to know that this game will get its live service. How long that is, who knows? It might literally be a year. So in essentially 16 months from now, I might be making a video telling you guys, hey, they've cancelled support. Who knows? But I'm glad they've committed to the game. And I really do think the game has a lot of potential still. I'm personally enjoying it at the moment. It will start to get boring without content for the next 4 months, so I'm probably gonna have to try and play a bit less so I don't get frustrated and bored by it. But I do think it has a lot of potential, and I hope that they stick with it and get it to a really good spot, and then just keep giving it content. I don't need a new Battlefield game in 2 years from now, because if they get this game to where it should have been at launch and then improve it even further with more content and all that, once it gets to that point where it's good and then they just cancel it and make a new one, it's kind of getting a bit frustrating to me. Like, it happened with Battlefront 2, they got that to a really good spot, and then they were like, we're done. The week before that happened, Battlefield 5 literally had the exact same thing. They got it to a state, don't get me wrong, Battlefield 5 still had a lot of issues, same with Battlefront 2, but they got them both to a state where it felt like, okay, this is getting somewhere, this is a good game now. And then it just ends, and it gets pretty frustrating. And yeah, not only do I hope that they continue with this game, but I really hope that they just look at this, and whenever the next Battlefield launches, launch it properly. I'm going to say it right now, whenever you're planning to release Battlefield 7, delay it already by a year. I'm not even joking. Delay that game already, because it needs an extra year to be worked on. They cannot afford another launch where it's just so frustrating. They need the next game. Look at like Halo Infinite. That game launched so well, and now people are kind of happy to wait a little bit for content because the game's fun. So that's my main takeaway from this, is that I really hope that they learn more from the actual launch of the game than this that they're announcing. Don't fuck up the next game, because that's when it's gonna be a do or die situation, I think. So that's a topic for a whole other video. I'm not gonna bore you guys with rants about a game that will come out in like 3 or 4 years, who knows. But that is pretty much it for what they talked about. Like I said, it's a weird situation because I honestly feel like fully deflated today. I've been sitting on this, like I said, it's nearly been 12 hours since the announcement happened. Granted, I only saw it a few hours after that happened, but I've been sitting on this for like 8-9 hours now. And yeah, I was gonna make a video, and then I was like, oh, I'll listen to the earnings call, and they didn't really give any information there, and it's just been pretty deflating to hear this news, to be honest. But then on the other side of it, other than the delay, what they've announced is really good, and I think it is the right step for the game to focus on getting it right and then giving its content. So it's like I'm so torn in that I agree with their decision and yet I hate it. It's kind of a weird situation to be in, to be honest. I'm sure a lot of you guys will know, like I'm sure a lot of you will feel probably the same as I do. So it's a very weird situation. Like I said, I'm going to kind of leave it there. I thought I'll just give you guys my initial thoughts, and then like I said, I've got a few videos sort of touching on this stuff. One about the feedback and communication. I want to give a bit of a rant toward, like, directly towards DICE and actually send it to the developers as to like my thoughts on what they really need to improve. And then I've also got a video on like the map design and the specialists and stuff, because I feel like that isn't being talked about enough, and those are pretty big changes. So I'm sure I'll have a bit more of a coherent explanation in those videos, because I feel like this video is almost pointless because I don't have an opinion. I'm just like sitting on the fence. I don't know, it's good and bad, like I don't even know how I feel. So I'm sure once I've digested it a bit more, those videos will be explained a little bit better. This was a bit of a ramble, but I thought I'd give you guys my initial thoughts, and be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think of this. I've seen everything from this game's officially dead to this is what the game needs to, you know, to fix itself. So I've heard literally the extremes at both ends, and it's like, yeah, it's it's a very polarizing announcement. So leave your thoughts down below. I want to get like a general consensus of what you guys think. And like I said, despite the delay and all that kind of thing, the content on the channel is not going anywhere. I'm not going to go have a break and play another game. I'm still going to be making Battlefield content. I'm not going anywhere. I'm still going to be playing Battlefield. So leave your thoughts down below. Keen to hear what you guys think. And like I said, there'll be plenty more content on the way. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. And if you guys are new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.